Something irreversible shifts the instant you release the grip of necessity. The tension that held you suspended in future time unravels, and your awareness drops fully into this moment. This isn't metaphorical. It's a structural collapse in how your energy organizes itself, and it marks the precise beginning of magnetic pull. Most assume that attraction ignites when longing reaches critical mass. The truth inverts this completely. Attraction awakens the moment your longing stops creating internal chaos. The field doesn't answer to hunger. It answers to completion. And completion only emerges when the compulsion for specific outcomes vanishes. Necessity and desire are not the same force. Necessity is a physiological condition where your entire system orients toward relief that exists only in imagined time. This orientation births a separation between what is and what could be. The quantum field reflects this separation with absolute precision, extending temporal distance not as obstruction, but as perfect mirroring of your internal landscape. This explains why reality seems to function in reverse. You assume transformation will deliver peace. Yet peace is the condition that permits transformation. You assume proof must precede conviction. Yet conviction embodied is what summons proof. The order reverses because the field configures itself from internal coherence outward, never from future states backward. From the quantum view, reality doesn't move towards you through force. It synchronizes with your energetic signature. Synchronization requires stable internal frequency. Necessity generates fluctuation. Fluctuation interrupts synchronization. When fluctuation ceases, alignment happens instantly. This also clarifies why manifestation appears sluggish during periods of emotional attachment to timing. Emotional pressure activates the brain's threat response systems. Stress hormones flood the bloodstream. Perception contracts. Your body locks into future scanning mode. This scanning tethers consciousness to moments that haven't materialized yet. When consciousness inhabits tomorrow, the present moment cannot condense into material form. Magnetic attraction begins when your body registers safety independent of any arrival. This safety transcends apathy. It's wholeness. A condition where no fundamental piece feels absent. The instant your nervous system detects this wholeness, the transmission to the quantum field becomes undistorted. Thought, feeling, and sense of self align without contradiction. Coherence locks into place. Coherence collapses potential into actuality faster than any amount of striving could achieve. This is why breakthrough moments often follow the exact instant someone stops forcing. They didn't surrender the wanting. They surrendered the posture of waiting for permission. They stopped interrogating reality for evidence. They stopped demanding timelines. That internal quieting allowed the field to respond, without static interference. The universe doesn't reward disconnection from desire. It responds to energetic alignment. Alignment registers as quiet, almost neutral. There's no urgency to defend it or lock it down. Actually, attempting to grip it causes immediate destabilization. This happens because gripping reactivates fear of potential loss. Fear reignites necessity. Necessity regenerates distance. Authentic attraction doesn't register as pulling. It registers as permission. Permission isn't passivity. It's receptivity without strain. It's movement without emotional freight. It's action that springs from identity rather than compensatory effort. When you move from permission, reality responds in kind. Not because you demanded it, but because you stopped blocking it. This explains why manifestation velocity increases when you cease monitoring it. Watching with expectation creates interference patterns. Watching with presence creates collapse. The distinction isn't about mental intensity, but about the posture of your internal system. You don't magnetize what occupies your thoughts most frequently. You magnetize what your nervous system has normalized. Normalization is the deepest broadcast frequency of all. In what follows, we're going to examine how the nervous system either generates magnetic pull or creates delay, why necessity registers as systemic instability, and how to transition into a state where attraction becomes effortless without manufacturing positivity, intensifying visualization, or performing indifference. Because the moment you stop needing, you don't forfeit power. You switch it on for the first time. To grasp why attraction only initiates after necessity dissolves, you need to examine how your nervous system interfaces with the quantum field. This is the component absent from conventional manifestation frameworks. The field doesn't respond to verbal declarations, affirmations, or isolated intentions. It responds to the consistent state your physical body transmits. Necessity registers in the nervous system as foundational instability. Even when your mind carries hope, your body maintains subtle contraction. Breath becomes restricted. Awareness scans continuously. An unconscious recognition persists that something critical remains absent. This absence signal becomes your dominant transmission. The quantum field mirrors transmission frequency, not conscious desire. When your body exists in deficiency mode, reality echoes that deficiency through postponement, inconsistency, or incomplete manifestations. Not because the universe withholds intentionally, but because coherence hasn't stabilized yet. Coherence means your mind, physical form, and identity broadcast identical information. Necessity fractures this unified signal. From the neuroscience perspective, this occurs because necessity locks the brain into prediction loops. Your brain runs constant simulations of future scenarios, rehearsing possibilities, monitoring projected timelines. Prediction anchors awareness to what hasn't arrived. What hasn't arrived cannot materialize into form. Attraction initiates when prediction quiets down. When your nervous system exits prediction mode, it enters regulation mode. Regulation expands perceptual capacity. Rather than hunting for specific outcomes, you start recognizing available opportunities. Rather than waiting for external authorization, you respond organically to what already exists in your environment. This is when movement becomes effortless and possibilities feel self-evident rather than manufactured. This regulated condition feels deceptively ordinary. No euphoric spike occurs, no surge of certainty, just grounded equilibrium in the present. And this present moment equilibrium is the exact prerequisite for clean field response. Quantum manifestation doesn't operate through intensity of desire. It operates through stability of state. This is why reality seems to favor those who appear not to care. But that interpretation misses the mechanism. They didn't stop caring about results. They stopped using results as emotional regulation tools. They stopped depending on future conditions to stabilize present experience. Once this dependency dissolves, attraction accelerates dramatically. If this is resonating with you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can continue exploring these frequencies with us. Another fundamental shift occurs here. Identity stops orienting toward the future. When you need something, your identity positions itself before fulfillment. You experience yourself as incomplete. When necessity dissolves, identity collapses into now. You no longer feel like you're becoming someone eventually. You inhabit yourself completely in this moment. Identity is the most powerful attractor in the quantum field. When identity stabilizes, reality organizes around it with remarkable speed, because no internal contradiction remains unresolved. The field no longer receives conflicting instructions. There's no signal broadcasting, "I am complete," while another simultaneously broadcasts, "I need this to feel okay." This internal agreement is what makes attraction feel frictionless. This also explains why silence becomes natural during this phase. You don't feel compelled to explain your process or broadcast your intentions. Explanation scatters energy. Silence concentrates it. Concentrated energy moves with velocity. The universe doesn't respond to urgency. It responds to containment. Containment means your energy no longer leaks into worry, anticipation, or constant checking. When energy remains contained, it intensifies without force. Intensity without force is inherently magnetic. In what comes next, we'll explore why attempting to let go usually fails, how the mind converts release into just another strategy, and what actually triggers the shift from needing to attracting to occur naturally rather than through deliberate effort. Because attraction doesn't begin when you consciously decide to stop needing. It begins when your system finally registers that stopping is safe. Here's where the most significant misunderstanding emerges. People believe that letting go is an action they must execute. They attempt to release attachment through conscious effort, monitor their emotional states, police their thoughts, and suppress desire, all of which maintains the system in effort mode. Letting go through force is simply control wearing different clothing. Genuine release isn't something you perform. It's something that occurs when your nervous system no longer experiences uncertainty as threat. As long as uncertainty feels dangerous, your body will grasp at outcomes. It will rehearse, strategize, hope, and brace for impact. Not because faith is lacking, but because the system is executing its protective programming. Attraction cannot emerge from protective states. Protection generates contraction. Contraction obstructs coherence. This is why many report, "I released attachment, but nothing shifted." In actuality, the mind released while the body remained contracted, and the quantum field reads the body's signal first. From the neuroscience lens, this is straightforward. The body learns through repetition, not intention. If your system learned that safety arrives after achievement, it will continue seeking achievement before allowing relaxation. No affirmation can override this patterning. Only new embodied experiences of safety without achievement can rewire it. These experiences manifest subtly. They often appear as moments where nothing changes in external circumstances, yet something releases internally. You stop compulsively checking your phone. You stop mentally rehearsing future conversations. You stop scanning for validation signs. These moments lack drama, but they're decisive. Each time your body experiences calm without resolution, a new neural association forms. Calm no longer requires arrival. Calm becomes accessible now. The moment calm becomes unconditional, the necessity signal dissolves. This is when attraction activates. Take a moment and drop a comment below with one word that captures the shift you're experiencing right now as you watch this. Attraction isn't a pulling force, it's resonance. When your internal state stabilizes, reality doesn't rush toward you. It synchronizes with your frequency. Synchronization feels effortless because no resistance exists to overcome. Elements align because nothing inside you repels them. This also explains why people frequently miss the exact moment attraction begins. They've stopped looking for it. They're present, and presence doesn't announce its arrival. Another transformation happens here regarding how you relate to desire itself. Desire becomes clean. It no longer carries heaviness or urgency. It feels like preference, not requirement. Preferences don't distort the transmission signal. When desire is clean, action becomes clean as well. You act because it's coherent, not because you're trying to close a perceived gap. Clean action carries no emotional charge, so it generates no friction. Without friction, temporal progression collapses. This is where manifestation stops appearing random. Results no longer arrive in chaotic bursts followed by long droughts. They arrive with consistency, predictability, quietness. Consistency signals that coherence has stabilized. The universe isn't responding to your wishes at this stage. It's responding to who you're being consistently when nothing appears to be happening. That consistent being is what defines attraction. In the next section, we'll examine why this state often arrives before people feel prepared. Why attraction can activate even when confidence feels low, and how the universe rearranges circumstances after internal stability manifests, never before. Because attraction doesn't wait for certainty. It waits for alignment. One of the most counterintuitive aspects of this process is that attraction frequently activates before confidence appears. This is where confusion sets in. People expect to feel certain, powerful, or ready before reality responds. But the universe doesn't wait for confidence. It waits for stability. Confidence is a mental construct. Stability is a physiological condition. You can feel uncertain and still be aligned. You can hold doubts and still be coherent. What matters isn't the absence of questions, but the absence of internal collapse when questions arise. When uncertainty no longer dysregulates your nervous system, attraction can operate without obstruction. This is why some of the most profound aligned shifts occur during periods that feel emotionally quiet or even slightly hollow. The old urgency has evaporated, but new excitement hasn't materialized yet. This in-between space feels peculiar to the mind, but it's fertile ground for the field. In this space, identity no longer anchors to striving, but it hasn't attached to outcomes either. It floats. Floating identity doesn't pull reality forward or push it away. It permits rearrangement. Rearrangement begins subtly. Conversation tones shift. Timing changes without explanation. You find yourself responding yes or no without overthinking. Decisions feel clean. Internal debate diminishes. This clarity isn't intellectual, it's embodied. From the quantum standpoint, this is when probability distribution narrows. Instead of multiple conflicting futures competing for collapse, one dominant trajectory begins forming. Not because you selected it mentally, but because your internal state stopped contradicting itself. Contradiction creates branching pathways. Consistency creates convergence. This also explains why attraction often appears obvious only in retrospect. Once coherence stabilizes, reality doesn't announce its reorganization. It simply reorganizes. And because you've stopped watching for signs, you notice results only after you're already living inside them. Another important shift here involves how you relate to effort. You don't avoid action, but action no longer carries emotional urgency. You don't act to force something into existence. You act because the action feels natural from your current state. Action without urgency doesn't distort time. This is the distinction between aligned movement and forced progression. Forced progression attempts to outrun the present. Aligned movement emerges from it. One generates friction, the other generates flow. At this stage, people often describe life as meeting them halfway. But what's actually happening is that you're no longer standing in the threshold. You've stepped fully into the space, and the door has closed behind you. When the door closes, attention stops leaking backward or forward. It remains here, and here is where manifestation operates. This is also where external validation loses significance. You don't need reassurance that you're on the correct path. Needing reassurance would reintroduce dependency on future conditions. Instead, you feel grounded enough to allow things to unfold without commentary. This groundedness isn't passive. It's magnetic. Magnetism isn't intensity. It's containment. Energy that remains with itself becomes attractive. Energy that disperses into worry, anticipation, or explanation dissipates. The universe responds to contained energy. This is why silence often accompanies major shifts. Not silence as concealment, but silence as coherence. You don't speak less because you're hiding something. You speak less because less internal noise requires discharge. In what follows, we'll integrate everything by exploring how to recognize when attraction has genuinely activated, how to avoid reverting to necessity-based states, and how to stabilize this frequency so it becomes your baseline, not a temporary phase. Because attraction doesn't require you to feel powerful. It requires you to stop being pulled out of yourself. Now, what we're exploring here is just one layer of how you shift from being someone who seeks to someone who transmits. If this resonance between identity and field is landing in your body, you'll find the complete framework in my book, Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery, where I break down all 9 master frequencies that govern how you broadcast to reality and how to move from unconscious transmission to becoming the field itself. It's linked in the pinned comment below. At this juncture, the most critical skill is recognition, not of outcomes but of internal state. Attraction doesn't announce itself with dramatic displays. It announces itself with normality. And that's precisely why many miss it and accidentally pull themselves back into necessity. When attraction has activated, you don't feel on the edge of something. You don't feel like something major is imminent. You feel present, grounded, mildly indifferent to timing. Paradoxically, this indifference is the clearest indicator that alignment is holding. Necessity always feels like anticipation. Attraction feels like availability. Availability means your attention isn't preoccupied with future relief. You're engaged with what's immediately present. Not because you're forcing presence, but because nothing pulls you elsewhere anymore. Your nervous system has stopped requesting reassurance. This is the critical distinction most people overlook. Manifestation doesn't fail because alignment is fragile. It fails because people don't trust the quiet phase. They mistake calm for stagnation. The moment they start checking again, the system re-enters prediction mode. Prediction recreates separation. This is why patience is frequently misunderstood. Patience isn't waiting calmly. Patience is the complete absence of waiting. It's living fully without postponement. When you live without postponement, reality doesn't postpone you either. Another indicator that attraction has activated is how you respond to uncertainty. When you're needing, uncertainty triggered anxiety. When attraction is active, uncertainty feels open-ended. You don't rush to close it. You allow it to unfold. Allowance maintains signal clarity. From the quantum perspective, Allowance means the observer no longer interferes with the system. Collapse occurs most efficiently when the observer remains stable and non-reactive. Reactivity keeps probabilities oscillating. Stability allows one trajectory to solidify. This is also where many sabotage themselves unintentionally. They begin to use the state. They attempt to leverage alignment to accelerate results. This leverage reintroduces control. Control reintroduces tension. Tension reactivates necessity. The solution isn't discipline, it's familiarity. The more familiar this state becomes, the less tempting it is to manipulate it. You don't try to use breathing when breathing feels normal. You don't try to use balance when standing feels natural. Similarly, you stop trying to use attraction when alignment feels ordinary. Ordinariness is stability. This is why people who live in sustained alignment rarely discuss manifestation. They don't need to. It's not a special event. It's the natural byproduct of how they inhabit themselves. At this stage, action flows without emotional charge. You still take steps, but steps aren't weighted with expectation. They don't feel like gambles. They feel like expressions. Expression doesn't create pressure. Pressure decelerates everything. This is also when identity fully detaches from outcomes. Success doesn't inflate you. Delays don't deflate you. Both are processed without internal collapse. And a system that doesn't collapse internally doesn't create external collapse either. Stability breeds continuity. The universe responds optimally to continuity because continuity allows patterns to complete their cycles. When you oscillate between needing and allowing, patterns reset repeatedly. When you remain steady, patterns mature. This is why attraction strengthens over time. When alignment is maintained, it doesn't spike and vanish. It deepens. It becomes more precise, less dramatic, but more effective. In the final section, we'll integrate everything by grounding this understanding into lived orientation. And we'll discuss how to anchor this state so it doesn't fade under pressure, not through effort, but through structural support. Because attraction doesn't ask you to stay vigilant. It asks you to stay with yourself. But before we bring everything together, there's a deeper layer to explore. Something that most people never discover because they're too busy trying to make attraction work. And that something is the relationship between your body's cellular memory and the quantum field itself. Your body doesn't just respond to the present moment. It's carrying every instance where you waited and nothing came. Every time you hoped and felt disappointed. Every occasion where you reached and came up empty. These aren't just memories. They're encoded in your tissues, in the tension patterns of your muscles, in the rhythm of your breath. Your body has learned that reaching creates pain. So even when your mind releases necessity, your body may still be braced for disappointment. This is the hidden layer that keeps people cycling. Their mind lets go, their body stays contracted, and the field responds to the body's deeper signal. The body is always speaking louder than the mind. It's broadcasting a frequency based on accumulated experience, not current intention. And until that bodily frequency shifts, attraction remains unstable. It flickers on and off. It works sometimes, but not consistently. And this inconsistency convinces people that manifestation is random or that they're doing something wrong. They're not doing something wrong. They're simply working at the mental level when the shift needs to happen at the somatic level. The body needs new evidence. Not evidence from reality, but evidence from internal experience. It needs to feel safe in the absence of outcomes enough times that the old bracing pattern dissolves. This doesn't happen through thinking. It happens through being. through allowing yourself to exist in states of calm when nothing is resolved, through breathing into uncertainty instead of contracting against it. Each time you do this, something shifts in your cellular structure. The body begins to learn that calm is available without conditions, that safety doesn't require external validation, that you can be okay right now, regardless of what hasn't happened yet. These small moments accumulate. They build a new foundation. And from that foundation, attraction becomes consistent rather than sporadic. In the comments, share one area of your life where you're ready to stop needing and start allowing. Your words create ripples in the field. This is also where most manifestation teachings fall short. They focus on changing thoughts, shifting beliefs, raising vibration through mental processes. But the body doesn't care about your thoughts. It cares about what it's experienced. And if it's experienced decades of disappointed hoping, no affirmation will override that conditioning. Only new somatic experiences can. So the practice here isn't about doing more. It's about being more present with what is. It's about noticing when your body tenses in response to uncertainty and choosing to breathe into that tension instead of trying to think your way out of it. It's about recognizing the subtle contraction that happens when you start to want something and allowing that contraction to soften without judging it or forcing it to change. This is embodied transformation, and it's the missing piece that separates people who manifest consistently from people who manifest occasionally. The consistent manifestors aren't more positive. They're more regulated. Their nervous systems have learned to remain stable in uncertainty, and that stability is what the field responds to with precision. There's another element here that deserves attention: the relationship between time and attraction. Most people experience time as linear: past, present, future, one moment following another in sequence. But from the quantum perspective, time is far more fluid than that. All moments exist simultaneously in the field of potential. What we call the present is simply where our consciousness is focused. And where our consciousness focuses determines which potential timeline collapses into our experienced reality. When you're in necessity mode, your consciousness is focused on the future. You're living in the timeline where the thing you need hasn't arrived yet. And by focusing there, you're collapsing that timeline into your present experience. You're literally creating the reality of absence by giving it your attention. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because the field is doing exactly what it's designed to do. It's mirroring your focus. When necessity dissolves, something profound happens with your relationship to time. Your consciousness stops leaning into the future. It drops into the present. And in the present moment, all timelines are accessible. The timeline where you already have what you want exists right now, in this moment, as a quantum potential. The moment your consciousness stops resisting the present and starts inhabiting it fully, you gain access to timelines that were previously unavailable. This is what people mean when they talk about living as if you already have what you want. They're not talking about pretending or visualizing. They're talking about actually inhabiting the timeline where it's already done. And you can only inhabit that timeline when your body feels safe enough to stop scanning the future for relief. This is where the practice deepens. You begin to notice how you're relating to time itself. Are you constantly projecting into tomorrow? Are you rehearsing future conversations, planning future scenarios, imagining future relief? Each time you do this, you're pulling your consciousness out of the present and into a timeline of waiting. and waiting becomes your reality. But when you bring your consciousness back to now, when you allow yourself to be fully here without needing anything to be different, you're stepping into the timeline of completion. Not completion that's coming, completion that exists right now. And from that timeline, attraction operates differently. It doesn't feel like pulling something towards you. It feels like recognizing what's already here. This also transforms how you take action. When you're living in the waiting timeline, action feels heavy. It feels like you're trying to make something happen that isn't here yet. But when you're living in the completion timeline, action feels natural. It feels like you're expressing what already is rather than creating what isn't. Let me give you a concrete example. Imagine you want a specific career opportunity. In the necessity state, you're living in the timeline where you don't have it yet. Every action you take is weighted with the question, will this get me there? Your resume feels like a desperate plea. Your networking feels like begging. Your interviews feel like tests you might fail. All of this is because you're inhabiting the timeline of absence. But when necessity dissolves and you drop into the present, something shifts. You're no longer living in the timeline of not having. You're living in the timeline of being the person who is already worthy of that opportunity. And from that timeline, your resume becomes a simple expression of your value. Your networking becomes genuine connection. Your interviews become conversations between equals. The energy is completely different, and that energy is what others respond to. This isn't about faking confidence. It's about genuinely shifting which timeline your consciousness inhabits. And you can only shift timelines when your body feels safe in the present moment. This is why all the mental techniques in the world won't work if your body is still contracted in fear. The body determines which timeline you're living in through its level of regulation. There's also something crucial to understand about resistance. Most people think resistance is something to overcome, something to fight against or push through. But resistance is actually information. It's your system telling you that it doesn't feel safe yet. And when you try to force your way past resistance, you're just creating more internal conflict, more fragmentation, more misalignment. The alternative is to meet resistance with curiosity instead of force, to notice where it lives in your body, to breathe with it, to allow it to be there without making it wrong. Because resistance isn't the enemy of attraction, forced positivity is. Resistance is honest. It's showing you where your system still needs support. And when you honor that instead of bypassing it, something softens. This softening is what allows genuine release to happen. Not release that you perform, but release that occurs naturally when your system feels safe enough to let go. And this kind of release creates lasting change. It shifts the baseline of your nervous system, rather than just creating a temporary state that disappears when pressure returns. So the practice here becomes one of compassionate presence with whatever is arising. If resistance shows up, you don't try to think it away, or affirm it away, or meditate it away. You simply acknowledge it. You feel where it lives in your body. You breathe with it, and you allow it to move at its own pace. This is how you build trust with your own system. And trust is what allows the body to finally stop bracing. When you examine everything you've encountered so far, a simple pattern reveals itself. Attraction was never something you needed to activate. It was something that naturally turned on the moment internal interference stopped. The universe didn't suddenly notice you. It finally received a clear signal. That signal wasn't confidence. It wasn't certainty. And it wasn't belief. it was stability. Stability communicates to the quantum field that your internal system is no longer fragmented, that thought, emotion, and identity no longer pull in opposing directions. When this happens, reality doesn't need motivation. It reorganizes automatically. This is why attraction feels inevitable once it begins. Not dramatic, not explosive, just inevitable. You're no longer trying to force things into existence. You're observing them unfold without surprise. The biggest misunderstanding about manifestation is thinking it's about acquiring something new. In truth, it's about removing the state that kept you separated from what already existed as potential. Necessity was that state. Once it dissolved, nothing remained to negotiate. From the quantum perspective, this is probability collapse through coherence. From the neurological perspective, it's a regulated nervous system that no longer ties safety to future conditions. From the spiritual perspective, it's embodiment, living as if nothing essential is missing. All three describe the identical moment, and that moment doesn't feel like victory. It feels like relief. Relief without arrival is the strongest signal you can transmit, because it communicates to the universe that you're no longer using outcomes to regulate yourself. You're no longer asking reality to prove anything to you. This is why attraction strengthens when you stop monitoring it. Attention without expectation stabilizes frequency. Expectation reintroduces pressure. Pressure decelerates response. This also explains why alignment cannot be rushed. Rushing is just waiting, wearing different clothing. And the universe always mirrors orientation, never intention. The question now isn't how to attract more. The question is how to remain in this state when life challenges you again. Because challenges will arrive, not as punishment, but as invitations to discover whether this alignment is conditional or embodied, whether it depends on circumstances or identity. Now, there's something essential to understand about how this state stabilizes over time. Most people assume that once they reach alignment, they'll stay there permanently. But alignment isn't a destination. It's a practice. It's a returning. You'll drift out of it. That's not failure. That's being human. What matters is how quickly you recognize the drift and how gently you return. The drift usually happens in predictable patterns. Something triggers the old necessity pattern. Maybe an unexpected bill arrives. Maybe someone else gets the opportunity you wanted. Maybe your timeline gets disrupted. The body's first response is often to contract back into the old bracing pattern, to start scanning for solutions, to grip for control. This is completely normal. Your system is trying to protect you the only way it knows how. But here's what changes when you've done this work. You catch the drift faster. You notice the contraction sooner. And instead of following it all the way back into necessity, you can pause. You can take a breath. You can recognize what's happening and make a different choice. Not a forced choice, a conscious choice. The choice to return to presence, even when every instinct is pulling you toward future solving. This returning becomes easier each time you practice it. The neural pathways strengthen. The body learns that it's safe to return to presence even when things feel uncertain. And gradually, the time between drift and return shortens. What used to take days or weeks might take hours or minutes, not because you're controlling it, but because you're training your system to recognize regulation as home base. This is where the real transformation happens. Not in the initial breakthrough, but in the consistent returning. In the building of new patterns through repetition. In the slow accumulation of moments where you chose presence over panic, allowance over control, trust over gripping. These moments rewire your system at the deepest level. There's also something powerful that happens when you stop treating manifestation as the goal and start treating regulation as the practice. When your primary focus shifts from, "Did I get what I wanted?" to "Am I regulated right now?" everything changes. Because regulation is something you have direct control over. You can't control when or how reality responds, but you can influence your nervous system's state. You can choose to breathe. You can choose to soften. You can choose to return to presence. And paradoxically, when you make regulation the priority instead of manifestation, manifestation becomes far more consistent. Because a regulated system is precisely what the field responds to. You're no longer trying to attract from instability. You're allowing attraction to occur from stability. And stability is magnetic in ways that effort never can be. This brings us to the role of environment in maintaining alignment. Your external environment either supports regulation or disrupts it. The people you spend time with, the content you consume, the spaces you inhabit, the rhythm of your days, all of this impacts your nervous system's baseline state. And if your environment is constantly triggering dysregulation, maintaining alignment becomes exponentially harder. This doesn't mean you need to isolate yourself or create a perfect bubble, but it does mean you need to become conscious of what supports your regulation and what undermines it. Maybe it's the friend who constantly complains about lack. Maybe it's the news cycle that feeds on fear. Maybe it's the social media accounts that trigger comparison. Maybe it's the rushed schedule that never allows you to land in your body. You have more agency over your environment than you might think. And when you start making choices that prioritize regulation, you're not being selfish. You're being strategic. You're creating the conditions where alignment can stabilize, where your nervous system can learn that safety is the norm, not the exception, where your baseline frequency can shift permanently instead of just spiking temporarily. Some people will interpret this as spiritual bypassing, as avoiding reality or hiding from challenge. But that's not what this is. This is about building enough internal stability that you can face challenge without collapsing. It's about creating a foundation strong enough to hold you when things get difficult. And that foundation gets built through consistent practice in environments that support regulation. There's one more layer to explore before we integrate everything: the relationship between worthiness and attraction. This is where many people get stuck without realizing it. They've done the work on necessity. They've learned to regulate their nervous system. They've shifted their relationship to time. But underneath all of that, there's a quiet belief that they're not worthy of what they desire. And that belief creates a ceiling that attraction can't break through. Worthiness issues are subtle. They don't usually announce themselves loudly. They show up as self-sabotage, as settling for less, as unconsciously pushing away what you say you want, as finding reasons why you're not ready yet, as waiting for one more credential, one more achievement, one more sign before you allow yourself to receive. The quantum field doesn't respond to your stated desires. It responds to what you believe you deserve at the deepest level. And if that deepest belief is, "I'm not worthy yet," that's the reality that manifests. Not because you're being punished, but because the field is mirroring your core identity, your sense of who you are and what you're allowed to have. Shifting worthiness isn't about affirmations. It's about examining the stories you've been carrying about yourself, the ones that say you're too much or not enough, too broken or too different, too late or too early. These stories create the boundaries of what you allow yourself to attract. And until you question these stories, until you see them as stories rather than truth, they'll continue to limit what can come through. The practice here is gentle excavation, noticing when you automatically discount yourself, when you assume others are more qualified or more deserving, when you make yourself smaller to avoid threatening others, when you apologize for taking up space. Each of these moments is showing you a worthiness wound, and each one is an opportunity to choose differently. You don't have to believe you're worthy to begin. You just have to be willing to act as if you might be, to experiment with receiving, to practice not deflecting compliments, to allow yourself to want what you want without justifying it, to take up the space you naturally occupy without apologizing. These small acts begin to rewire the worthiness programming, and as that programming shifts, something remarkable happens. The ceiling on your attraction lifts. Things that seemed impossible start feeling natural. Opportunities that you would have unconsciously pushed away start landing. Not because you're suddenly more worthy, but because you're no longer blocking what was always available. Your internal permission structure has expanded. Consider returning to this video tomorrow morning. Let these principles recalibrate your nervous system each day. And if someone in your life is trapped in the cycle of needing, share this with them. That act of sharing doesn't just help them, it reinforces your own embodiment of these truths and accelerates the manifestation process for both of you through the energetic ripple you create. This is where grounding becomes essential. Not motivation, not hype, structure. Something that helps your nervous system return to stability when old patterns attempt to resurface. Something that anchors this frequency into daily existence so it doesn't fade the moment pressure appears. That's exactly why quantum rebirth exists together with the quantum grimoire. Not to teach you how to manifest harder, but to help you stop manifesting from necessity altogether. To stabilize this internal shift at the level of perception, identity, and nervous system regulation. Now, if you truly want to understand what happens when expectation itself dissolves, when you stop waiting for anything at all, you need to watch what I'm sharing next about when you stop expecting. This is what happens. Because what we've explored today about releasing necessity is only the beginning. In that transmission, you'll discover the quantum mechanics of expectation collapse and how it creates instantaneous reality shifts that most people never access. That video is on screen now.